In construction, you either run your project or the project runs you. And a project, just like a business that runs you, is what Keith calls a hand cranker.
Most of us have a business where we're this. We're crankers.
And it generally runs and looks a lot like this.
Kind of a fire drill working with a bunch of people doing a bunch of stuff, and it's not necessarily the most productive thing that needs to happen.
At the other end of the spectrum is a project that runs like a well-oiled machine.
The whole idea of the machine is that I pour gasoline in and it runs.
As the project grows in size and scales, what you end up with is a whole lot of hand cranking going on.
And then I hear people talking about, I want to scale my business. And if you scale a crank business, you wind up with more crankers because there is no machine.
Many of the leaders on a project will brag about their ability to be able to wing it. Let's make it up and make it real is their mantra. But as the legendary coach Bill Walsh said, hearing someone described as being able to fly by the seat of their pants always suggests to me a leader who hasn't prepared properly and whose pants may pretty soon fall down. There's 3 things that transform a hand crank project into a well-oiled machine.
So the machine is 3 things. I got to have a process, I got to have a strategy and a plan. I got to have the people to execute, and I got to have some structure so that I pour in gas and this thing goes.
And structure is what the fly by the seat of their pants brigade detest the most, because they're usually the biggest hand crankers that you'll ever meet.
The Achilles tendon of most entrepreneurs is structure. They hate it. That's why they started their own business, is because they hate the idea of having structure, and yet structure is critical for scaling.
Just as a side note for the intent of this video, when Keith refers to an entrepreneur, the person on the project that fits that role is generally the project manager. On a project, leverage can take a lot of different forms, but there's one form of leverage that trumps all of the rest.
But the more powerful form of leverage is who's on your team.
Quoting the legendary Bill Walsh again, when you take care of the team, the score takes care of itself.
If you only had a team of A players, how many of your existing problems that you have right now would go away?
Creating structure on a construction project is a skill set that very few possess. Getting it up and running feels a lot like you're trying to run through a wall.
I know you're taking it in the teeth out there, but the first guy through the wall, he always gets bloody. Always.
While speeding up the project, you're literally working everyone out of a job.
This is threatening, not just a way of doing business, but in their minds it's threatening the game. But really what it's threatening is their livelihood. It's threatening their jobs. It's threatening the way that they do things.
So naturally, there's going to be a lot of pushback.
The people who are holding the reins, have their hands on the switch, they go bat crazy.
It's not a task for the ill-disciplined, pea-hearted, or those that give up easily. But when you've had enough of conforming to the status quo and running around like a blue fly, trying to keep a heap of hand crankers on track, shoot me through a message with the word cranker and we'll organise a time to catch up for a chat to see if we might be a good fit to work together.
I've described you in the intro as, well, I'll forget the exact words, but one word is just enigma. An absolute enigma. As we said, we've gone through this bloody, that's why I had to call you the other day. I'm like, pretty much calling, like, can you please make sense of yourself? Because it didn't make sense to me. This Boilermaker construction supervisor to marketing manager to social media keynote speaker, and like, as I said in capital letters, like, what the please explain. Where do you want to start? It's all over the shop. You won't even start at the start. It'd be like a bloody Tarantino movie.
Yeah. Start at the end and we'll go back to the beginning.
Get into it, mate. Give us the spiel. Go back to, actually, I want to know, like, the thing that interests me the most is when you started the social media marketing stuff.
Yep.
Not recently.